Hello, hello. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting stream. Today, did you see, Bam Akavona's joke? What? No way. How many points? How many points? What we got, some 83? Lol, that'd be funny. No way. Alright, but today we're going back to playing 83. What? That's insane. That's actually insane. I jokingly said it was 83. I think what's it called? I think that's ooh, we are a little laggy. Why are we lagging? That is insane. I'm not gonna lie. I can't believe that. But hopefully, guys, we are all doing oh so great. Why is it? Do I need to switch it around? Do I need to switch it around or something? Or is it just as long as the faces look good, that's what matters to me. Oh, you're already yes, I was live for a while. Alright, you child. I can't point the gun at the kid. Oh, it makes me so happy. Okay. So last time I was gonna try and beat the game in like 6 hours. Unfortunately, I could not. So I do have a little challenge that I am going to have to do. But that will be at a later date. As of right now, we're going to go on ahead. We're going to very much so. I'm super quiet, by the way. Oh, I don't like that. No. We don't like Mr. Quiet. We like big and loud. All right, there we go. Oh, also I know why, because it was double audioing. Yeah, my audio is at double for some reason. Weird. All right, so you guys should hear me now. Hopefully you guys are all doing well. All right, so I'm gonna be honest, chat. I've been meaning to stream, but I was typing up a video today. Wanted to get some stuff out before I had streamed. What's it called? After Resident Evil, I do plan on playing fan favorite, everyone's favorite game, Monster Hunter. Oh my gosh, I can't shoot the child. Yeah, that makes me so happy. You can shoot kids, that'd make me sad. So last time we were trying to make it like where? Oh yeah, over here. Holy crap, that's a long way we have to go, man. Do I really want to do this? Okay, hold on. Wait. Because there might be a way we have to do this. Yes, wild. Yes, I am referring to wild. What the fuck? Oh, hell no. Hold on. There's got to be, like, people on the other side. Please, I beg. Please. There better not be a single soul here. I beg. How far did you get? I've gotten pretty far. in the game. I'm not gonna lie. What's it called? I think, from what someone told me, I'm around like 30% almost done with the game. This section's just long. It's just really long for like a game. And since this is like my first time playing, I didn't like. I mean, I think I got pretty far into the game for getting closer to 6 hours. Now, I promise you, chat, I'm gonna try and not do like, what's it called? Long, lengthy streams. On top of trying not to do them all like, oh my god, because I'm gonna scare and piss myself everywhere. And I just don't want to do that. All right, so I'm gonna be honest. There's like no other way. I'm gonna have to kill somebody. So, truth be told, I'd rather just go this way and then up and then down. Oh my god. I have to hold this kid in my hand and everything? Are you serious? How am I supposed to do that when I got these? How did that miss? Can you fucking reload, please? I'm scared. Worst shooter and all. Oh my god. Get on the ground. Get on the ground. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Alright. You said it's funny because I've low-key been watching Zico play. Zico? Why does that name sound familiar? Zico. Zico or Zico? Zico? I don't know a Zico. I forgot a Zico. Like Zuko? Ah, yes, Zuko. Okay, so now we have a problem. Well, a clear friggin' problem. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Oh. My brain can't take it. Oh, dinosaur. Oh, Zico. Yeah. Okay. Oh my god. I have no scraps. Oh, it's so fucked. Oh, I don't have anything. Oh no. Someone go get me some guns. I need them. This child. Are you ready to go, Emily? Alright, guys, how is it? Is it laggy at all? If it's still laggy, then I'm gonna. I know exactly what I have to do. If it's still lagging, just tell me. There's a couple of things I got to do to get rid of my issue. There's just a couple of things I have in the background that are making things a little difficult. But yeah, we're gonna see. I think it's working now. Okay. Hopefully. Greetings. Is that Chaos? Congratulations on graduating, Chaos. I heard the great news, sir. I've heard in the grapevine from the other servers that you have graduated college. Congratulations, sir. Hopefully you're doing well. I'm intricately doing okay. I am, well, still playing video games. What? Lol? I heard that. Yeah, you didn't graduate. False information. What? Whoa. I still have a year? You still have a year? Yeah, you're serious? Oh my god. Good lord. Well, it's okay, because where did you obtain this? What, this information? This is undisclosed information that I cannot say. I had thought in my Discord. No, this is just on me, I guess. Okay, so how the hell am I gonna do? I can't crouch? You haven't spoken to the squad in a minute? Oh man. Oh my gosh. Man. Wait a minute. So then, hold on. Who here has graduated college? Now I need to ask. Maybe I need to start asking these questions. Maybe that's the questions I need to ask. Dude, I really don't want to go through there. I really don't want to go through there because that's like, holy fuck. Well, you know what? I still have my guns, even if I fuck this up. So fuck it. I just realized I went the wrong way. But I'm happy to hear that are you still at the school that you're attending, Chaos? I went through the worst 2 months of my life, and now I'm trying to do happy things like me building another PC, which is insane. Trust me, man. I'm not gonna lie. Okay. You booked a trip to Japan solo? Oh my gosh. When are you going, Chaos? Because depending on when you're going, you might actually see me. Because I'm also going Japan with a couple of other people. And I make it my mission to go over there. I applaud you for doing such a March 30th to April 9th. You know what is so funny about that date? Is that I'm heading over to South Africa around that time. Which one of them came alive? Bro, I don't have any fucking thing, man. I have nothing. Oh my god. Never mind. I have something. There might be a little something I could do here. There's a little something I can do here. Cherry blossom seasons and insane prices. Look. I have been telling people the exact same thing. As an announcement, the code is 301050. Any uncollected containers will be discarded of as management. Ooh, perfect. Yes, I do want to see the new PC. I want to see what you guys have been doing outside of the fun of triple the price in terms of hotels, and yes, but I ate the cost. Yeah, you know what? I'll be honest. That's why I always tell people, guys, if you guys want to go to Japan, I said it last year, and I said it earlier this year. I said, guys, if you want to go to Japan, go earlier in the year, because you're not gonna hate yourself. Trust me, because So I'm starting to realize a trend here. 2,500 for the flight? What airline are you taking? What airline are you taking? Because I could have got you a cheaper flight, man. I'm not gonna lie. And where are you leaving out of again? Depending on where you're leaving out of. Just rip it out of me.
Don't worry, it's okay.
Saying don't worry, it's okay. Like I just didn't. If you care about the chair buttons, that might as well go to DC. Okay, you couldn't. I don't care about your. This is my spring. Oh, it's your spring break. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I need to obviously. I gotta put Grace down. I gotta put her down. I can't put Ellie. You gotta go down. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, child. I know you're. It's not your fault, man. It's goddamn resident. It's because the residents are fucking evil. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, dang, that's really messed up. That it's so late, man. Oh man, because honestly, I'm going to October, because that's when October season, fall season is peak. Prices are $400 each. Oh, I went to Seattle last spring break. It was beautiful. Seattle is a beautiful place. Don't ever sleep on Seattle. And General Washington, beautiful place, beautiful place, beautiful place. It's 30, 10, 50. Please be something there. No, just some damn coins. Are you serious? I need some fucking ammo. Some ammo. Then I got the Freakazoid over here just going at it. Oh, God, you gotta be kidding me. Prices are insane for 3 reasons. Peak Japan season, book 3 weeks in advance, and war because of yeah, that does make sense. Yeah, I trust me that. What's it called? Now I will say that Japan peak season. I don't know, because Japan peak season like June, July, but enjoy. Now I will say there is a place I would recommend going. Yokohama. Please make sure go to Yokohama. Go to Akihabara. You want to get some anime figures for One Piece stuff. Trust me, there's so much. You know what? You said what from the 30th? You know what? Maybe I might go do that. Maybe we might go together. We might go together. I need to get away. I need to get out. We might have to go together. Chaos. It's a beautiful country. One that I can never hate. Where do you go into Japan specifically? Anytime I've gone to 2 places. I've gone to Yokohama, and I've gone into central Japan. Bro, I'm down in the link. I'll be solo, but don't underestimate the price. It's insane. Yeah, no, I haven't. Trust me, I won't. I will not. Of course not. Trust me, because Japan is one place. What is this? you get the hell? I'll need to ask the children to get his quartz for me. His quartz. Oh, is that what they're talking about? Here? I already went here. We already have it. I just need some ammo. I'm very much so down. But what are the prices? Prices of renting apartments there? Is it bad? Oh, now renting an apartment over there? I'm spending 31st to the 4th in Tokyo. Are you going anywhere else? Any Osaka? Any Hokkaido? Anywhere else? Anywhere else? Kyoto and Osaka. Yes, the good places. All right, now renting over there. Well, it used to be a lot inexpensive, I'll be honest, because you know, I'll be honest, I'll be transparent with you guys. Heck, even I've been looking out a way to go over there and just kind of just live there for some time, I'll be honest. And then 8th night Tokyo, so I can make the flight make sense. Are you flying H&D? Are you flying through H&D or NRT? Because oh boy, there is a clear difference. I got my flight for free points, free, by the way. I've been saving up points. Oh, perfect. I'm happy to hear that. Okay, no, these fuckers, I gotta go. I got my flight for free. Yes, I'm happy to hear that. Now, I will say, renting used to be a lot more inexpensive. It used to be like around, well, it used to be 1,000 yen. But, dude, there's too much fucking noise. I can't stand it. I arrive in H&D and I leave from NRT. Ooh, which airline are you taking? Because I won't say. The fuck are we spending? B&Bs are still dirt cheap. That's easier. And I completely agree with them because they are. I completely agree with you. It is a lot easier to navigate through a hotel versus an Airbnb. Dude, I don't have any ammo. What the fuck am I supposed to do? There's no scraps. Nothing's waiting for me. I could go to the coin cabinet. I could go to the simple walk. Alaska Airlines to get there from LA. Oh, you know what? I wish you had told me. So they've been doing these specialty flights, and then I leave back with Delta. Ooh, okay, good. But they've been doing these specialty flights where like you can round trip to Tokyo for like 500. I wish I knew. I would have sent it to you. I've been sending it to everybody else, and I just never sent it in chat. Oh man. Oh, dude. Bro, you should go. That truly is like a man. It truly changes you going. That was a while ago. Well, no, I don't think they had ended. They had stopped doing that. Okay, I can increase my health. Now, I think it's a direct flight, more than likely, Benjamin, because he's going straight from LA. LA, you could do direct flights. I mean, personally, you can do direct flights. Truth be told, like a lot of places, but no, if you really want to do one, you do one from over there. Okay, okay, Alaska Airlines, LA to Hawaii to. You're doing a layover in a Hawaii. Whoa, Chaos is going to Hawaii. You've ever gone before? That's crazy. Hawaii. You know, I've then coming back and to Shanghai. Hold on, depending on how long the flight is, dude, you should go explore at Shanghai. Dude, let the city be yours, man. Don't let anyone tell you Shanghai's bad. No, Shanghai's peak. Shanghai's good. Glory to only 3-hour overlay. You might be able to get some food in there. You might be able to get some food. Might be able to get some food in there. Okay, now I have to figure out. Is there any scraps over here? I'll take a few, please. I beg. You got some. You're going to some pretty places, man. Now I will say, thing is, I booked with Delta coming back, but the first flight is China Eastern for the second for the 2 hours Japan. If I then Delta, holy dude, that's gonna be so much fun. You may never know. You might end up loving China Airlines. Now, as someone who knows a little bit, I've heard good things about the China Air Eastern. Um, I haven't heard any complaints from any of the people, any of my family members or friends. I've heard great things from both, but you know, it's okay. I do recommend packing some snacks if you are hungry. You know, because that Shanghai flight to Japan is that's a long haul. That is not an easy flight, especially if you're not used to it. Shoot, man, I'm happy. Chaos, that makes me excited. Go travel, man. Go travel. Enjoy the world. It is ours for the taking, sir. It is yours to enjoy. I would recommend anybody going to travel. Traveling does a lot for the mind, the body, and the soul. March 31st to the April 1st, it cost me like hotel. What hotel are you staying at? Hotel Gracery? You're staying at a Gracery? Oh, wow. Interesting. You know, I'm not gonna lie. When the first 2 times I did went, I stayed at a very different place. I was very much so interested. Dude, all hotels are expensive. Well, I mean, okay, it depends. Even APA, don't say at APA. Don't say at APA. Don't say at APA. APA is a scam. APA are notorious, scummy scammers, okay? They love scamming. You want to talk about some scammers? I don't care about the owners. No. I'm not worried about the owners, what they do to foreigners. I'm talking about how much they charge per person. Because trust me, I was going to do a getaway with my girlfriend, okay? I looked at those tickets. Those bastards wanted so, like, they were charging me for 3 days for Thanksgiving over up to $2,000. And I sat there and I said, are you serious? Okay, I'm just not going to deal with this. Have I ever been to Okinawa? Not yet. I want to, though. I've gone. I need to go back to Japan. Realistically, I've been away too long. Last year it was Korea, Hong Kong. This year it's back to Japan. Oh my god, I hate. Check Discord news for PC. I want a second! Please. I'm scared going solo. The prices are insane, but F it. You know, honestly, no. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. No. Don't be afraid. Enjoy that. What you're feeling. Enjoy the thrill. Okay. Even the person the person closest to me
I can try.
died in
like
died in that's very unfortunate to hear. Chaos Life and condolences, sir. Ours I was going in January.
You handle this. I'll handle.
Your grandpa? The cutscenes really lag out stream. Why be? Yeah, no, I know what it is. Hold on. I know why. Give me a second. You wanna work? Hold on, guys. Lived with him my whole life. Yeah, I did the same thing with my grandparents. I completely understand. Okay, we should be back and it should be loading correctly. Hold on, I might have to lower my bit rate. You know, since I'm not chasing the lead. What are we at? Hold on. I also have my phone right here, so I'm gonna look at it right now. Let me see. I want to see it. I got it. I have to see it. Let me see it in chaos. Is this it? Oh my gosh! Chaos has got a beauty on his hands. Good lord, man. Jesus, that thing is pretty. Specs a 50 Ti, 7. Oh my lord. 32 DDR5. Hey, Chaos. Aesthetics alone cost a band. Wow. That is insane. I was gonna say, hey, Chaos. You want to start selling those PCs? Look here, I'll be your first customer. I'll put 100 on the table. I don't lie, but yeah, no. I honestly, Chaos, enjoy Japan. Taking the culture, taking everything about. Oh, you guys are serious. Let me in. Let me in. I need. MFers when they say it's time to. Okay. So the number of cases of corpses were infected with multiple. Okay. Pull up, no balls. March 30th? Well, you know what the funny thing is? Okay, so and you're gonna be like, what? The funny thing is that alright, so that week might be a little difficult for me, only because I just realized what I have. I have to go to Hawaii. And the reason why I'm going to Hawaii is because I'm doing a photo shoot for my sister because she's seen it. Because of that, I have to I'm then flying, meet him in the layover, and you know what? I was just thinking of that. That actually might have to be the plan. Oh my god, please. Well, I get there. Did you beat Elden Ring? I did, dude. There's so why is there some sort of noise about it? Please. I did last year. Get him off of me! Get off of me! Stop resisting! Stop resisting! Stop resisting! Not plausible. I have 2 hours. To connect to Tokyo. Yeah. Well, actually, it depends on which one are you going through HNL. If you're going through HNL, then there might be. If you're going through Oahu, there's a chance. If not, then yes. HNL. That's what I thought. I would like to. Trust me, don't get me wrong. I would love to see everybody. But I also know, you guys got so much going. Going through H&L, I love H&L. I love that place. Love H&L, guys. What the fuck? Are you serious? Motherfucker, I can't even see you. Back up. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Yep. Blowing his brains out. Yep. Who's next? Hotel and flight aside, do you think what 1.2 or 1,000? That is more than enough to eat, drink, sleep, and go all over to a brothel if you want. Okay. You have you'll have more than enough chaos, trust me. I'll be honest, I unintentionally only had $10 the last time I went to Japan, okay? And I had spent, and we were there for like around 5 days-ish. I'll be honest, I didn't run out of money until the last day. I promise you now. No drinking, that's not rule. I did it! That's rule number 1. Hey, no, I mean, if I would say you should, give it some time, enjoy.
Come here. I found this.
Oh, thank fuck.
Well done, Emily. Thank you.
We're not. Bro, why are the cutscenes like this? Why do they look like this? They look chompy. I don't drink. I will be sober to the day. Oh yes, I forgot. For religious reasons, I do understand that. Yes. You can, but there's a lot of other things. Cooked. I can't fix the. The fuck? Why did it just go out? Oh, now I can't even see chat. Why did it do that? Let's try that again. No, but even if you don't want to, there's other dude. There's so I've gambled 3K on Counter Strike in the last month. That is insane. I'll be honest. If you're into like One Piece stuff, there is a Shonen Jump store. Just gonna recommend you go enjoy. Um, they might have some figures. They might have some One Piece Netflix edition figures. They might have some Blue Lock on sale. Go to Shibuya, please go to Shibuya. I beg you, go to Shibuya. Go to the coffee shop. I gotta go. I gotta book things like exotic car tours, Shibuya Sky. Make sure to go to Tokyo. Make sure to go to Tokyo Sky Tree, Tokyo Goes Sky Tower. There's a One Piece store. Yes, there's your hotels in Shinjuku. Oh my god. Okay. Also, I'm gonna tell you this right now. What's it called? I'm gonna tell you this right now. Chaos. My game crashed mid session. Okay. So there's only I gotta tell you, Chaos. Okay. So right here. All right. There's this thing. Don't worry, I won't fall for any of the scroll. No, 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 no. There's a thing right here called Pasmo. I don't know if you can see it. It is a. It is a. It is a. What's it called? This right here is a train card. You are going to need. I'm telling you. I swear by this thing, like my life depends on it. Okay, this is one of the best things. Okay, the way that you're gonna get around, there's a name for it. Yes, yes, I'm gonna tell you it right now. It's called PASMO. Pasmo. All right, there's the Pasmo, then they have the Cinca, and then they have the JR trains. Okay, let me tell you this right now. 95. Why that one? Because you were able to load money on this account right here. Suga's the one you got? Okay, well, never mind. Okay, all right. As long as you have something, then you're good to go. Okay, because let me tell you, the first time I went, now mind you, don't do what I do. Okay, I went in blind. I didn't look up anything. The only thing I did was book my hotel and my concert hall and look for my concert. That was it. Everything else about Japan, I figured out while I was there. Yes, yes, and the strings out. Yes, okay, there. Yes, oh my god, dude. What? Let me tell you, saves so much time, saves so much energy. It saves lives. Okay, I'm just gonna be honest with you. If you did, let me tell you, J Airline will be your friend. All right, you want to go to Disney? I recommend going to Disney. Okay, Disney's like, it is. What were you thinking? I know what screwed me over when I got over there. You gotta help. I gotta help my fellow travelers. I can't let you guys get screwed over here. Listen, I'm not gonna have a hotel in Osaka. I'm gonna have it in Kyoto and just day trip in Osaka. Thank God. Okay. Woo! Bro was about to pay. I was about to pay an arm and a damn leg for that. I'm about to pay everything he owns. His entire trust fund's about to go to a trip to Japan. Personally, I don't think that's a bad idea. I can't believe my fucking game crashed as if I'm not at like the most pivotal boss fight of all time. This is just pissing me off. Okay, fine. Um, no, that's good. That's good because Kyoto. No, I mean, I'll be honest. Osaka they will drain you. Trust me. I was gonna go for 1 day. For 1 day. Okay, 1 day. $2,000 for a whole 1 night hotel. I just looked and said, oh. I said, okay. I tell you, man. Between that, now personally, when it comes to me, I like going to Tokyo for a plethora of reasons. One of the reasons is because I liked going to the Nintendo store. I know all of you guys might not be Nintendo nerds like I am, but it's okay. In my 4 days in Tokyo, I'm gonna do trips to Osaka and oh, okay. There's one place I think you should go. Okay. Oh, do I even remember the name of it? Okay, it is like a beach resort. I gotta remember. Whenever I find it, I'm gonna send it to you. There's like a beach resort esque area over there, and pretty much, um, what's it called? And pretty much, I didn't go, but I was looking into it. I said, "Oh, this is pretty." I said, "This is nice." If anyone, I was like, man, I would feel it would feel bad if no one else could go. Oh my god, I just realized I'm gonna have to re fucking do everything, don't I? Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not upset. 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 It's fine. But yes, I very much so believe that you should be able to enjoy. Yes. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna vlog it too. I got a you have a Passport Pocket 3? Courtesy of my girlfriend right here. Make those YouTube videos. Document, man. Document the adventure. The adventure, man. Enjoy. Look. Twins. Yeah, dude, I have this and then I've got where's the other one? Hold on. All courtesy of my girlfriend, okay? All courtesy of my girlfriend. Yeah, I've got this, okay? I love her quite much, okay? She's got she got me DJI'd up in here, okay? I'm high I'm higher I'm hire an Indian on Fiverr to edit. I can edit for you, man. I can I can edit for you, man. It's okay. The editing the editing should not take you that long. What's it called? Like it's fine. It's fine. Um okay, is it working now? Thank goodness it's working. Okay. Let's see here. Can I get this to um ooh. What's it called? You said you're gonna get one to do what? Hold on, I might have to do that. That actually might be perfect. You said I might get the action so I don't get fucked by water. That might not be a bad idea. Honestly, the water, I mean, I'm gonna see the snow monkeys if I make it in time. You might actually. Heck, I would even recommend if you have if for some odd reason you just don't have Loki Sapporo, yes, dude, go to Sapporo. Go to Hokkaido. Go to man, go to Hokkaido. Go to Hokkaido, man. Go to Hokkaido, man. Oh my god. You should go. Look, I'm telling you this right now. It's really far, right? For yeah, it is. It is a flight. You could what's it called? There is a way that you could take a GR line train straight up there. It's a 3 hour train ride. Well, from Tokyo, I think it's either 3 or 8. It really does depend. It really does depend. Okay. Are you going to work with me now, game? Too long. Not gonna lie. Okay. Yeah. No, I completely understand. Trust me. Like I said, as people have told me before, I'm a freak when it comes to certain things. I'm like, oh yeah, I know. I'm like, when it comes to like Japan and stuff, man, I did the most. I was thinking Swiss or Japan. By the way, pick Japan and Iceland. Yeah, no. I mean, I think you'll enjoy Japan. Those were my three options. I think you'll enjoy Japan. I'm not saying that the others are bad, but as I know you to be, as a fan of certain things, I think it's a I think it's not a bad idea. I do not think it's a bad idea. Okay, all right. We're about to fix this in a second, guys, as I'm currently doing stuff. I'll do winter stuff in Swiss for snow. Yes, dude. Oh my god, you should. What went up? Do I not have DLS? Come on, I need DLSS on. I need to like, what's it called? I might need to get a. Um. Okay, is this it? Is this everything? All right, I think we're back to doing the good chat. I think we're good. Yeah, we're good. Okay. All right. What's your specs? Oh, did you ever get? I did get a new PC. I officially have a 2090, a 2060 with an Intel Core i5. We are rocking out to the best right now. Honestly, I'm great. All right, I was gonna say yeah, I can do that. Yeah, honestly, I'm grateful. How much? I got off like, well, actually, I got it like pretty much. It was a hand me down. I was on my way to getting some. I was going to go buy one. But a friend of mine was like, "Hey, man," he said, "Save up. Get yourself like a better pre built. Take this off my hands for right now, and you'll be better." I said, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah." Holy crap! This looks so much better. Oh my god. Oh, what the hell? Can you guys see? Good God. Holy crap. Does the game... Am I playing the same game? Oh my God. I changed which monitor is showing the game. What the hell? The game looks so clean. Oh my God. Oh my God. Even the cutscenes look good. What? So maybe okay. So I guess I'm gonna have to do stuff on this side. Holy crap, dude! It is so clear. Oh my God! All right, so I'm casting everything on this piece on this monitor from now on. The other one will not get used at all. No sound. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Yeah, but no, what's it called? No, as of right now, I am going to get myself another one. I've been, I'm, because I am going back to school. Going to go back to school, going back to, you know, maybe a little bit of a 9 to 5-ish just for a tad. Just to really put some stuff in perspective for me. You know, not. Wait, where the fuck is the sound? Oh my God, the game looks insane. Oh, dude, I didn't realize the game could look this good. Okay, for right now, we're gonna do this until the other one wants to work. Hold on, let me see here. It's gaming. It's the same one. Why is it not working? Oh my God, the game looks extremely better. All right, we're gonna see. Okay, yeah, we'll keep it like this for right now. Okay. Any lag, chat? Any lag? Any lag? Dude, the game looks actually insane now. What the hell? Very little stuttering. Oh my Lord. Dude, oh my God. All I did... Yeah, let me run over here really quickly. There's something right here. Yeah, but no, my plan is to upgrade the PC. Cause I love what I have right now. But I do know that thing is gonna get time to inevitably you know, upgrade soon, so. So when that happens, I want to be a bit prepared. Okay. So, anybody else? Okay. Holy crap. I'm absolutely amazed right now with how the game looks. See, I fucking knew it. Oh, get away from me. Okay. This? Shoot your entire eye out. Alright. Not. I'm trying to go with these fucking squishers, man. I got nothing with me. Yay! Oh, never mind. I do. Did he just fucking jump over? No, that's no bueno.
Grace, I did it.
You did? Holy fuck. I don't have to waste my bullets. Thank you. Open the damn door. Oh my god.
I found this.
Oh my god.
Well done, Emily. Thank you.
Alright, so what am I fighting? What am I fighting? Alright guys, am I too low? Is the game dark? Hopefully it's not. How are you alive? Are you serious? With what ammo?
I thought that thing was dead.
With what ammo? With what ammo am I supposed to do this with? Oh my days. Can't save after this, huh? Well, might as well make it happen. Leon, save me, Leon!
This is all my fault.
Yeah, it is, Grace. I'm glad that we come to that realization.
I can't just leave her.
Oh my god. The game looks so good. Oh my, like, I'm sorry, Chad. I'm like enamored. Like, I'm looking on my left screen. I'm just like, a game could look this good while I'm streaming. What is this? Descent into Madness. Okay, can we not get this to work? All right, I would like to have it stop showing my screen. Or Leon S. Kennedy. Okay, it's just not gonna do that. Okay, that's fine. Oh my gosh, everyone's favorite dude, Jesus. Oh my God, Leon, I can see the pixels on your screen, man. Holy. And he said,
"Why are you here? Is it for me? Or for her?"
bro, the game looks actually insane. Like, what the fuck? Oh my God, what did I do? Put this game on. Put this on ultra performance, and the game just looks all different. Bro, look at Leon aura for me. He's like, heck.
Or we can begin your treatment.
A silent treatment, I hope.
Why is he like this?
You're an investigator, right?
How do you not know?
We'll investigate. What do you want to know? Is this where I conduct my research?
Oh my gosh. Dang, man. Leon, you're not going to break out of this, sir?
Are the answers to your disease here?
Why does he talk to him like it's an ASMR video? Maybe that's what's killing me. He's like, guys, I'm going to kill him.
You know, I do have a question. When's the last time you brushed your teeth?
Why is Leon like this, man?
You
Uh-huh.
are an ignorant fool.
The hell did I do?
Do you believe in human evolution?
What?
I have devoted my life to studying it, while you have devoted your life to failure.
Oh, yep, that's right. Yeah, yep. Oh my. Leon? Oh my gosh. His gun? He said I'm gonna fucking kill him. Oh.
You're a dead man walking.
Don't say that. Not about Leroy.
Hey, can you hear me?
Leon, I've been trying to reach you.
Sorry, I was a little tied up. Did you get what I asked for?
The floor plan? Yeah, sending it now.
Oh my gosh, is bro using?
I gotta talk to Victor.
Yeah, talk alright.
He is batshit crazy. Gotta make my way to his office.
I'm playing who? Oh hell yeah! Do I have unlimited ammo?
Let that FBI agent got away.
FBI?
Yeah, Grace Ashcroft. Victor
Oh, hell
kidnapped
yeah.
her.
What? Why?
Yeah, I can't wait.
I don't know,
Can I get?
but I intend to find out.
I want to kick. I was ready to kick down the door. Yeah, but guys, you know what? You guys should really, you know, if you haven't gone to Japan, yeah, I recommend you guys going. Thomas K. Jackson, irregular eating patterns after a surgical procedure to suppress the central center of the brain. The subject experienced an increase in appetite and weight gain. He began to indulge everything he could get on, including infused pumps and peacemakers. Oh no. It's that fat guy, isn't it? Exhibits the same symptoms as his brother with a partially strong fixation on human flesh. Must be treated with extreme caution as he has become violently agitated, if not constantly eating. Well, fuck me. Yep, go ahead, Leon. Yep. Mr. 54 years old, by the way. Alright. Actually, you know what? Let's see. Can I run the game? Hold on. Could I run the game? Now that it's looking better, can I run third person Leon? Chat, how's it looking? Is it a little laggy? Yeah, I think we're gonna think of the first person for this. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't trust it. And on top of that, I like to see what I'm shooting at. Oh, it's a pump. How dandy.
Hope I'm not next.
Yeah, with that attitude, Leon will be on us. He's not gonna fit through that. There's no way no he's gonna do that. Yeah, oh, yeah, please. Oh, Jesus.
Felt out with the hump.
I'm sorry. Nope. Nope. You know, no food for day. No veggies for you. Oh, yep, get him out. Yep, it's in there. In there like as people are. No, nope, just run and shoot. I don't want to give you anything, man. Hell, I don't even want to be in the same vicinity as you. I'm sorry, go. I don't like how close he is. He's so close. Oh, I'll say shotgun. 4 more doesn't hurt. My mystery fucking mouse tool, get away from me! Get away from me, Big Bertha! Get away from me! Don't touch me, sir! Get away from me! This fucking front dude. Oh my crashing into the wall so much. Oh my god. I am so far. I can't get up. You can't get up. I refuse to let you guys tell me that he's gonna get this. Bad. He's gonna jump. Oh my god, Leon is kind of him. Okay. I see why people like Leon. Yeah, he's that guy. Yeah. I want to be this guy. Hey, Leon, you wanna get up? Thank you. Is that it? Is that it? Thank fuck.
Sorry, but I'm not on the menu.
Yeah, I'm not either, man. A hand grenade. Oh. Anything else here? Shotgun shells? Where? So I very much don't need shotgun shells. The shotgun shells are this way? Oh. Good God. And then they're over here. That man is a fat fuck. Holy. Let's go ahead and just... Yeah, come on. Pull it out, Leon. Yep, thank you. Thank you. Oh, so Leon can... Oh. Bro. Reduce muzzler? Oh, I can attach parts to this? For security, I put the save 64 and 30. Okay, perfect. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Now we're playing with real firepower. Oh, and yeah, oh my god, bro. He has so much freaking artillery. Alright, perfect. Alright. And they say daddy's home. Gonna fucking blow whoever's brains are out. I've got a shotgun with zombies' names on it. I'm ready to blow this place up. Oh, I'm over here now. Como estas, motherfuckers? It is time. It's Leon S. Kennedy versus the fucking world, guys. Let's begin. Here comes the boom. No? Okay. Well, actually, hold on. There are some... Oh my god, there's so many closets I can go to. Never mind. We're going to the closets first. Never mind. Anyone stop me? I gotta got a hand grenade and everything. Perfect. Ooh, shotgun? Okay. Hey, you lost the pantry key again. Mr. Big Chef made me crawl the filthy friggin' floors to find it. I finally found it in a puddle of grease along with the dead-sized rocks. You owe me. Ah.
This place is infested.
Ooh.
These office should be.
Yep. Yep, we're gonna have a lot of fun. There doesn't seem to be any use for this. Oh, Leon, you'd be so sorely mistaken. Dude, I blew his fucking guts open. Oh, my days. You know what? Playing Leon, you know what playing Leon feels like? I'm playing as a U.S. like military soldier. It feels like I'm unstoppable. Nothing can stop me. Like, I just get in here, and Grace feels timid, and I'm playing a fucking World War II veteran right here, okay? Like, dude. I play Leon, and it's just like, oh. Do I have any more warped stuff that I need to go to? Well, shit. Blew him up to smither friggin' rings, alright. Oh, I can go down here now. God, this is gonna be like a boss. What in the absolute fuck?
What a fucking shame.
I somewhat agree. Burst your heads if you want to survive. Back up. Back up. Back up. I said back, I say. Back, I say. Back, I fucking say. Back, I fucking say. Who's next? I've got loads for load. I'll put my entire load in you guys. Who's fucking next? Everyone wants to get a piece of my load. Who's next? Hey guys. Oh shit. Back up. Back up, I say. Back up. Oh my god.
Going after him.
Fuck. Back, I say. Back, I say. Heal. Fucking okay. Fucking back, I say. Do you understand? Do you understand my language? No. That's not what I wanted. Leon, please. I need you to get up. Lock in, man. Yep. Right in the back of his head. Yep. Open his head. Yep. Get the fuck off the ground. Oh my lord. Oh. I'm telling with a good time, guys. Every motherfucker's gonna go. I am U.S. military grade agent. I am. Oh, this is a lot of. Oh shit! I'm sorry, man. Sorry about that, man. You good? Perfect. I'm walking around. Oh shit, what is this?
Every single time.
Yep. Yep. Thank you for giving me that. Oh, okay, there we go. Is that a fucking machete? Back. Back. Oh, yep. Oh, yeah, there we go.
Well, that's my cardio for the week.
Wait, hold on. Before I even do that, whoa. There's a, yeah, there's a few other places we have to go visit Leon. I'm sorry. Sorry, we've got some side missioning to do before we even begin leaving this place. Are you serious? No fucking way. It's, oh, come on, man. Oh, it's my fault. I wanted to do something different, but I guess not. I was ready to go ahead and shoot everyone like it's a spot. Oh, man. Darn, I really wanted to get some other stuff. Oh, shoot. Yeah, oh, crap. Alright, that's fine. I was ready to come back as friggin' Leon and just, like, destroy everything. Ugh. Come on, Leon.
Pretty
What
sure
are we
I found
thinking?
Victor's private office.
Nice work. Lock it up.
Yes, ma'am.
Bingo. I have the IP address. Just give me a minute. And I'm in.
Okay, hit me.
T-virus with the body mutates?
Sherry. You're killing me.
Who's Sherry? Who's Sherry?
I found some information about our illness.
Our illness?
Symptoms confirm a T-virus infection.
What?
Oh, fuck.
Oh.
Well, hey, at least we're in it together, right?
What's that supposed to mean, Leon?
Alright, what do we got? Elvis.
For the sake of Elvis? Why the fuck is
Grace.
What's Grace here?
What do with this?
Okay, I'm interested. All right, they have clearly have shown me that I need to be interested. Don't tell me I have to go back to Grace. I was fun having just here comes the fucking boom. I wish I stayed longer in Leon's section now. I would have gone to the other places, broke everything open. Oh shit, man. Oh, Grace, what are you doing at 3? Oh no. Oh, we're so cooked. I've got one bullet.
I'm coming.
I have no bullets. I have nothing. Oh my days. Everyone's dead. The plan went to shit. I'm the only one who's left in this godforsaken place. I tried to escape, but what's the point? I see my colleagues being eaten alive like an endless loop playing over and over in my head. Let it stop, please. Oh, that's just oh, hell no. Okay.
Why is this under the hospital?
Because they're obviously doing some testing. An elevator that goes to the first floor. I like that. Nothing. Okay. I feel like I'm playing Parasite friggin' Eve. I'm not a huge fan of the government. Not a big fan of the government. Not a big fan. Guys, I'm actually scared. Oh my god. As Leon, I just kill everything. Like, Leon just... He murders, he murders, he just... Everything he touches is just... It's just... He's like, hello, motherfucker. And everything's dead. No, here... Emily.
Is that Emily?
Why is she in a children's room? A child's room, okay. Alright, let's see what we got with Tall and poised, the girl is currently occupying the basement. We plan to corner her by taking advantage of the subject's insolent to light and will place high-intensity ultraviolet lights to the area. Once it's complete, we will begin the operation. Please prepare your weapons and stand by. They're gonna fucking murder her. Oh, my days. Anything? Anybody else want to just give me some Leon tools? Anybody else want to give me some Leon tools? Anybody else want to give me some what the fuck? Oh, hell no. Oh, alright, let's begin. Defective blood. Alright. Eat a tool, yes. Like, I already don't need like 1,000 of them. It's a scrap. God, there's scrap on the other side. That means more for my gun. Yippee! I love scrap, guys. Scrap makes the world go around, and let me tell you why. Because that means more opportunities for Big Boom. I like Big Boom. I really like the Big Boom. Oh, fucking great. You have something in there. Cutscene? Grace. The hell? Emily. Don't you dare say her name. Okay.
Oh, thank goodness. Emily!
The girl, you're flashing a light at her. She's not getting up. Oh, what the hell?
It collects things.
Open it all for everybody else in a second. And no, well, how about we just let's get ready first before we even think of anything, Miss Ashcroft, because you're about to fucking destroy everything that I've ever worked on, which will piss me off. And I know you don't want to piss me off, so it's okay. So we're gonna go ahead. Going to reload this. We are then going to make it our damn business to now turn this on, or we you gotta insert the 3 jolt plugs and pull the lever if you're crazy enough to open the cells. The jolt plugs are currently being powered by other areas. I've marked them on the Well, it's the only she can find me, so it's fine. That means I have to go back, then go find the others. Okay. This is gonna be fun. Okay. Where else am I supposed to go? Hear it. I hear it. Where is it? I hear it. Alright, taking the toolbox to the boiler for repairs. The quality of blood at the laboratory receipts has gone to hell. We've been notified from above to take immediate action. Looks like problems during the separation process is to blame. Gotta do some work on it. Well, let's see. Do I really have to spell it out and say it's their fault? Or do I just say, fuck it, and it's corporate America's bad? Only time will friggin' tell. That's it right now. What am I going in here, so... You gotta go somewhere. It's not like I can just... Perfect. All right. Oh, all right. Fine. All right. Perfect. Yeah, literally. Like, what am I supposed to do here? Actually, you know, we're gonna go with the... I'm looking going to bed. Have a good night, man. All right. Have a good night, Spunk. I shall see you tomorrow, sir. We will complete Resident Evil this way. Soaked. What now? Okay, this is just leading me to death. Okay. Bro, this is a hazard. My days. Come on. Come on. Come on. Crafting recipe. I can make cocktails. Nice. I like that idea. Now let me go ahead and pull this up. Next thing is you. As if that's gonna do something. Who heard or saw me? I don't even have a pick lock, do I? Oh, this is just unfortunate. I don't even have a darn pick lock, huh? What? A bottle and 60 blood. Okay. It's okay. Alright, now that both of those are gone, well then I guess let's check the back here. Alright, they clearly are having fun with us like this essentially. Seems like they really enjoyed the hospital. Ah, perfect. Lockpick. And ah, perfect. Getting through. Squeegee can loosen bolts. Perfect. I could infect the blood. Life can be a dream. Ashuba shuba, paradise above. Do 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 do. Ashooby dooby doo doo. Ashooby dooby doo doo. Can I not use it? You won't let me go off to use anything? You're pretty much telling me that I'm... So I pretty much just wasted a bottle. Is that what I'm hearing? Okay. Oh, my eyes. Well, we're not gonna fucking make it at all. We can, with a good idea to, fucking leave. Okay? Oh my good lord. Alright. Now let me go back to my room for a second. She can go in there, so it's fine. She can't come in, it's fine. Paradise down above. A shooby dooby doo doo. A shooby dooby doo doo. So not only did I run out of friggin'. So not only have I ran out of stuff, pretty much, at the same time I now need to go back to where I was going in order to do what I was just doing. This is nice. No, I need those. Okay, now let's see here. Anything? Ah, no, okay, okay. Okay, that's really cool. Shooby-dooby-doo-doo. Why is that the way that I have to come down? Oh, okay. Well, that's perfect. That means I can now go the way that I want to. Yeah. Who the fuck woke up? Yeah, calm down. Alright, there we go. Alright, we've gotten this. Now press off and leave me alone. Never fall in love again. Tsukinasita. Is that for what I think it is? Perfect. Nice. I now understand that I know good. All right. Alright, so she's evidently going that way, which is fine, because guess what that means? That means perfectly I can just go the other way, and no one's gonna be bad at all. Especially if I go this way, out of the furnace. I actually don't want to go over here. Let's just try. Very much so terrified. Oh, there's a plug here. Gun out. Yeah, this would have been perfect for that other thing. Oh, what is it? Hey, man. Sorry, sir. Alright, well, I think we're doing pretty good so far for ourselves. In a second, I'm actually finally about to get the one thing I've always wanted. More ammo. Oh, hell no. Forklift. What are those? I need 80. Okay. Oh. Well, I guess you guys won't need this right now.
It's two.
Alright, so I have a choice. I can either go this way, or I can go back over this way. The choice is all mine. Ooh. That is so unfortunate, especially since I do just go on ahead and just Okay. Shoot, man. If I'm Grace, I'm putting a rain trick and never coming back. That's if I'm Grace. Alright, perfect. Let me grab the lockpick. That may serve me some purpose in the future. And after that, then we can go to the workshop. Grab some stuff. And if need be, put a bullet into. Hey guys. Oh, nope. Hold on. Taking the toolbox to the boiler room. What is it? Yes. Looks like I've got some work to do. Oh, we were over here. I can vault over. Oh. Sorry, I got you quiet shut. I had to squeeze my. I really should say night night fucker, but I'm not gonna do that. If I'm right over here. Ew. Honest to God's like I wanted to shoot. But truth be told, shooting is getting the way that I need to get. Okay. Yep, why don't you just piss me off? Okay. Piss off. Oh Lord. Oh my God. Friggin' loud, okay? I might as well say, hey guys, I'm here. Hey guys, what are you doing? Hey guys, I'm right here. Look what I'm doing, guys, hey. I might as well just say that. Because that's how loud it sounds. Good God. Alright, we'll see here. Alright, on good. Oh. They want me to go down, huh? Or no? Of course. Why not go the super creepy way? Just because I have a magnum dong ready. To absolutely lay waste whoever fucking tries me. Their entire blood. entire ancestors are about to get absolutely smoked and smothered. Well, I guess we're okay. Alright, we're fine. We are fine. Ooh, it's the lift again.
The smell.
Before I even do any of that. Oh. A forklift key, huh? Ooh, more space for my pouch. Thank you. And then a center basement plan. Perfect. So that means we're just missing one more place. Okay. Ooh, 6. It's almost like they know that like a boss fight's about to happen in a second. I almost can't get too excited. Let's see here. Ooh, I could get more. Or I can try this cocktail that it seems like the game really wants me to try. Have to get in the water, don't I? Well, wait, it doesn't make sense because I have to get on the other side, so. What? A joint plug. Okay, so then the question is well, then how the hell do I get on the other side? Oh my god, I have the forklift key, huh? That's what they want me to do. They want me to go on the other side. Okay. Oh, frack. Get in there, I gotta shut one of these off. Hey, man. I need you to just go ahead and fucking move. Thank you for contributing to society. Glory to mankind. Alright, next thing. Let's go. No, fuck off. Do I have to play this scary game? No. Go back in there. Do fucking work the damn thing. And do it again. This is this is a lot of freaking fun, guys. I'm not gonna lie, this part of the game is a little
God, I really don't want to go in there.
okay. Well, hold on, where do I go? Will you just let me go, please?
Stay calm, Grace.
I'm not gonna lose more. Well, okay, hold on. Two things. One, I want this. And then two, for sure, the other thing that I would like. Oh, I can save. Wow. Well, I have pretty much all three. We gotta grab a plant. Because we're going to need that in the future. Oh, excuse me, chat. I'm not making so the water fucking stops. I'm making so like the things are my fucking life. Okay.
What?
Fluid drainage complete. begin.
Whoa. Processing. Shit, no! No, no! Please work.
Come on. Fuck that.
Processing is almost complete.
Yeah, I like that.
Processing complete.
Dear God.
It stopped. Finally stopped. Thank God.
Oof. Wait, how the hell? Oh, hold on. Do they want me to go back and grab everything? Oh no, that's just not possible. So, what the fuck do I do then? It's not like I can just leave, or can I?
Last one. Now to free Emily and get out of this place.
Wait, so do I already have them? Because if that's the case, oh, I'm gonna have to go to the fucking sewers right now. Well, I'll be darned. Actually, I'm gonna keep saving. I'm just gonna save that because right now, trying not to use it as much. I knew it. Yep.
Oh, I got in my mouth.
I'm so sorry, Grace. Alright. Now it's time to just grab the other one. And we'll be shooby dooby doo shooby dooby doo. Oh, it leads me here now. Oh. I'm ready. I have a gun with someone's name on it. You know, the only ones that are turning into that are the ones that are a little bit, have a little bit of color to them. I see you, Capcom. What am I supposed to do with that? What am I can't even win. Oh. Well then, Grace. Oh, yeah, the girl down, but you may be able to use a... Interesting. So that I know what my fucking Requiem is going to. Whoa. Shut up. Alright, let's begin. Okay, can't devour the fucker like I want to, but alright. As soon as this goes off, guess what? I'm running. Immediate thing I'm doing is running. Okay. Okay. Alright, in a second, Emily, we're gonna come and save you. Okay. Now we're gonna come and save Emily. Alright. Oh, shit. I don't know any blood at all. Oh, perfect. So tired of these. Alright, cool. There's only one person who I'm gonna fucking stun with this damn Requiem. She's like, oh my god, what happened? Like, you fucking happened. You know, like, hasta la vista, buddy. And her entire head's just gonna go off. And she's like, oh my gosh. They say, oh my gosh, Hentrip, you're goated. Like, am I, guys? So who else wants to get their ass blasted? Anybody? Any takers? Don't tell me I'm doing the running section, am I? I'm doing it.
Hold on tight. I'm scared. Why is it so loud?
Trust me.
It's gonna be okay. Just don't let go.
Yep. Not looking.
Come on. Come on. It's just spinning you down.
Now do all of it. Do all of it. Come on. was gonna say, why did the game do that?
That's good. Good, Emily.
Oh god. Oh my god. Alright, hold on, chat. Give me 1 second. Got a little bit more game in me, and then after that, we're turning it off. Alright. Oh! Oh my god. Fuck that.
Oh, we gotta get out of here.
Oh. Stop this doing it.
Hurry! Go!
This is about to lose a leg. I don't want to lose my fucking leg. Oh. I knew it. I knew she was gonna lose her leg. Oh. 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 Grace, you better wake the fuck up. I can't even lie. I thought the same exact thing, Grace. I can't even lie. I thought the exact thing.
You okay? Yeah.
She is not okay. But I don't blame her. I would have lost my mind
How
too.
about you? You okay? Here, I kept this safe for you.
Aw. Thank you, Emily.
Thank you.
Alright, now let's go and leave. Oh, it's like she needs a mom figure. She's like, Mommy. Alright, I won't even lie, chat. We've done a lot this stream. We've done quite a lot. Alright, let's make it happen. Let's leave this mansion once and for all.
Let's go.
Alright. Quartz.
Hey, Emily. Do you maybe want to leave with me?
Yeah, why
It's
would-
not safe here.
Okay.
Good. That's good.
Alright, now the one thing we're gonna have to do. Now, truth be told, I normally would stop here, but I'm interested in seeing what, like, do I get to play a little bit of Leon? Leroy. Mr. Leroy. No, we're leaving. I don't give a fuck. Oh, I did have a lock pick. There is a simple lock over here. Hold on. Emily, sit down for like 5 seconds, please. Also, I just realized that the game is starting to stutter, so we're gonna go back to 60. Where are you at? 30? Alright, we're going up and right. Perfect. And nothing in here, but that doesn't mean I don't have a gun ready. Alright, perfect. And guess what? This is gonna be useless. Ooh. Never mind. You mean to tell me that I can make another one of my boom booms? Sir, yes, fucking sir. I think I killed the guy in here, right? Swear to God I did, but okay. We're about to say goodbye to this place. Rest in absolute shit. Actually, what I might go do, I might go kill if the other guy is still alive. It's Leon. I might go down there, go kill the bastard myself. Let's go ahead and leave, Emily. Let's leave hell behind. Alright, let's make it happen, Emily. Let's leave it all behind. Let's go grab Emily and let's go leave. Why does it keep doing this? Okay. Hold on. That's just the wrong thing. Okay, perfect. It's not too laggy. It's just a tad. All right.
Finally. We made it. We did it.
Now it's time for us to go home.
Emily? Are you alright? Emily?
I don't know.
Well, let's just... we need to keep moving, okay? Oh my god.
Hey! Stay right there!
Hey, it's okay. We're not infected.
So you're normal?
I think so.
Thank fuck. Those things still running around.
Who are you?
You don't need to worry about me.
I'm tired.
I know.
That your kid?
Yes.
What's...
This? Old war wound. I can't run away even if I wanted to.
Can you fly this?
Sure can. My bastard boss took the key.
Oh my god. Where is it, man?
I could fly us all out of here. If you go get it for me. It's in there. I'd go myself, but I can't outrun those things, not with this leg.
Are you lying to me?
What? Have you seen the same shit I've seen? Look, lady, we're out of options here. How much longer do you think any of us can survive?
Can I go back to my room now?
It's not safe.
Hey, we can help each other.
Do I gotta kill Phil? I'll do it in a
I'll
heartbeat.
protect her. If you get the key, I'll keep her safe. I promise.
It's a deal. Come on. I got you. Ready? No. Come on. Gotta strap you in. Oh, I'm Grace, by the way. This is Emily.
Harry.
Thank you, Harry.
Oh, Harry.
No problem.
You know what? It's because his name is. I thought his name said Philip
I'll be right back.
and not Pilot, and I just okay. Another ADHD struggle moment. You know, I like how the game looks on my PC because it looks like it's just straight out of a fucking like. Looks like a PSP game. Like it looks like a PlayStation 1 game. It's kind of funny to watch. No issues. I turn everything else off just to get it to work. Where is it, Phil? Are you gonna sit in there? Alright. Let me make it out. What does he mean monsters? There's not a single soul in here. What? What is dude talking about? He said there's monsters in here. Dude, there's not a single soul here.
Please, just let it be in here.
Not in there. Nope. Strange. Why would I need the bolts for? An hourglass? Seems like we've gotten to the fun portion of the game where I have to figure out puzzles. Oh. What in the world? A double helix model? Look at that. What? Alright, so your presentation was quite impressive. While we are pleased to hear that the experiment has progressed to stage 4, is far from the result we expected. It has been more than 20 years since the establishment of this care center. We require clear results. As an added picture, we requested the blockade to be extended to 2040. It is appeared that we attained the uplist by the deadline. You tell me they wanted another 20 years. Just wasted a bullet for testing nonsense. Let's check the other side of the house. Is this it? Oh no. Name Z, retracted pending. It's not in there. Oh, Emily. Well, I guess it's time for me to go to the friggin' courtyard and figure it out. Tell me I just go around the water. So the game honestly wants me to believe that there's something that's in the house that I can possibly potentially use. Sure, game, sure. Excuse me. Well, I normally don't buy the idea of it. I guess I can. I can try. Key can slide into? Publication about medicine. A microscope? Do I need something of that magnitude? And then this thing. Hmm. Confusion. Why here? Why is it that this is like a point of entrance? Oh. Huh? I jokingly said, do you really expect me to believe that there's a monster? I know who that is. It's Leon!
What the hell?
I don't even know what that thing is. Vicious looking things. Goodness. I can't even read the names, even if I wanted to. Not fun would be if those started to just. Collecting and testing. That's what this is called. Very interesting. The hell happened over here? Oh. There's nothing. Okay. That means we have to go to the suspicious left area, guys. Uh-oh. Alright, Chad, I know I'm gonna, trust me, I'm gonna put this to bed in a bit. Oh my god. Up here? There's a door? Hmm. Oh, there is a door.
Found you.
All right. Computer terminal? You want to go back to the computer? Okay, perfect.
Yes, Zeno, that's correct. All tests have come back positive. I can confirm that she is indeed the one that we've been searching for. If all goes as planned, Elpis will soon be in our hands.
Helpless?
Of course. But first, I must initiate the protocol. I've done it.
Who's bro cooking?
I've done it. I've done it.
What is he talking about?
The self-destruct protocol is initiated. All tasks will be initiated. All
Dude, I'm like the slowest gamer. Okay. Yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go.
Oh, shit.
Where do I go? Well, that's it. That's currently the plan. Oh my lord. Grace has no pep in her step at all. Zero is lunch. Holy shit, man. We just can't do that, yeah. I'm sorry, Grace. Oh. Wait a minute, look behind me. Yeah, I probably should. This is bad. Imagine having to get through all of this just to die. That would piss me off.
Why does this shit keep happening? I made it. Okay.
The fuck?
You get it?
Yeah.
What the fuck did you do?
Grace? Grace, what's happening? It's okay, Emily. I'm here. Emily, it's gonna get a little bumpy. I'm right next to you.
Bro, that's going way too
I'm
slow.
gonna need you up front.
No, it's okay. I'm all right.
Come on.
Oh, there are so many of them.
Strap in. What's it look like I'm doing? No shit!
Yeah, Phil's gonna die.
Time to take it off!
Phil's gonna die. They're gonna kill fucking Phil. I fucking knew it. Oh my god, gracious. And guess what? He's dead. He's like, oh, Phil, we're okay. Yeah, well, I'm not surprised.
Emily, are you okay? Oh, Emily.
Bro just wanted to go home. And then Grace just fucking killed him. Okay. Bro just wanted to go home and Bro just sitting in here just like this, just impaled. Friggin' Neji style.
Elvis. Grace. What's she got to do with this?
Oh my god.
Hello, gorgeous.
Hello, gorgeous? I know that was a lot, Emily, but I need you to walk in, please. Oh, calm the fuck on.
That girl just can't stay out of trouble.
Fuck am I supposed to do? Vault over.
Sherry, Grace is still here.
The FBI agent.
Yeah. Found some files on Victor's computer. She's connected to this somehow.
Is she okay?
No. I've got it covered.
What?
Okay. Dead.
Come on. Oh shit.
Must be time for the evening service.
Oh my fucking god, dude, there's everybody and their mother's here.
Hang in there, Grace. Can we lock in Leon? She gotta think fuck. All right.
Bro's first time in the fucking chapel and doesn't know what to do with it. Alright, are we gonna get... Oh, we're going down, Leon. Dude has a shotgun, a fucking rifle. Did you really just have to knock him dead? Alright. Alright, get the fuck off that guy.
Stay with me.
Grace,
Leon!
who is she?
Oh, this is Emily. Help me, I can't stop the bleeding.
Hey, look at me. We're gonna be okay.
Thank you, Leon.
Yeah?
He looks a little cooked, but...
Can't stay here. That should be the way to the water treatment plant. It's our way out. Let's go.
Oh,
Take her.
There we go.
Get
Yeah.
her safe. Go. Now.
55-year-old Leroy. Motherfucker. What? Give me the shotgun.
Our friend's busy.
Give me the shotgun. 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 Give me the fucking shotgun. Gross. Mm. Fuck hit me? Are you serious? Okay. Oh my god. Get the fuck out of here. Not even a shotgun to its fucking head work. Yeah, get out of here. Oh. Shit. Yeah, there we go. Fucking reliable over here. Where do I go? Alright, now we're gone. Come on, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Jesus, Leon. Holy frick. Oh my god, dude. Leroy. Oh, good old Leroy. Thank you, Leroy. Leon Leroy. But I don't know who the fuck Ashley Sherry is. Leroy. Oh my god, I'm playing Grace a fucking again. Oh my god, it's 6:20 a.m.
I'll get you out, Emily. There's gotta be a way to get to the surface.
So I say this girl is dying, and you want me to do puzzles? I mean, she's not really dying. If you have me doing, if you have a girl, oh, her breathing's loud.
I'm sorry, I know it hurts. I'm so sorry.
We gotta be realistic, Grace. She might not make it. There's like no place for me to put her. Alright.
Dead end.
There's just no fucking way.
We can't let that thing hurt her. It's okay, Emily. Here. Rest here. Here you go. I need to keep you safe. Okay?
Alright, where is she? Alright, the roof hatch is operated by the panel outside the storage bay. Troubleshooting of power supply persists. You must restart the 3 power distributors and you know, oh my fucking god. Basically, hey man, you got some bullshit to do today. Alright, cool. Alright, I actually might, since there's a save point, I might actually end it here for right now. I should have just fucking saved it right there and left it moving. As if Grace is gonna do something. If I die, I'm just.
Insufficient power. Reset the power distribution units on the lower floor.
Gotta get the power on. It's my only chance.
Gotta be fucking kidding. Oh my god. Is this real? Bro. Oh, got a fat gun ready for everybody else. Well, then how am I supposed to do the other side then? What?
Find those power units.
Unless, hold on, let's see here. So, if I go... No, what am I supposed to fucking do here? Hello? Okay, I go down, and now what? Nothing, because there's nothing I can do over here. How? Alright, chat, I'm gonna be honest. I'm starting to get a little tired. You guys know what that means. That's why you start getting continued tomorrow. Because we've had a good long stream. Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'm not dealing with this shit today. Come on, let's fucking go.
Stephen.
Fucking tired of that thing.
already.
Literally, like, come on, please. I need a tool?
No lever.
Brother.
There has to be one somewhere.
Yeah, I'd like to know where to. Oh. We're blowing her. Are you serious?
What the fuck? Give me a break.
Yeah, fucker.
To the go.
Okay.
Close one.
She just take it to the head? What am I supposed to do there? So yeah, I'm gonna have Okay, come on. She can fuck around and she will find out. She will find out really quickly who she's missing. I've got one bullet left.
Only one more.
All right. Where? Come to Papa. I'll take two. Two's all I friggin' need. It's for the lone, lone cowboy. The good old graciousness of a cowboy. Yes, Tom.
Why is it so stiff?
That's fine, because I've got something for her, alright? If 6 bullets that's not enough. I've got more in like 3 different chambers. I'm ready. I hope she knows I'm ready. Dodgy's right time. Get her fucking absolute brains blown out.
We're getting out of here. Get out of the fucking way. Come on. Open.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Finally.
Oh, Emily. If Victor that's there, I'm gonna lose my fucking shit. Emily, we're okay.
Emily, it's me.
What?
Emily? Oh no. Wake up. Come on. Oh no. Oh, Emily. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Oh, come on, Emily. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wake up, Emily!
What? Is this normal?
Come on!
We lost the child chat. Wow.
30.
I mean, I didn't feel anything, but wow, that's
Come on!
wow.
Emily!
I was not expecting that. Wow.
I failed you.
Oh, Grace, no.
Emily! Hi, it's me. I'm right here. You okay? You okay?
What in the fuck? What in some Parasite Eve shit is this? Oh, yep, go ahead.
No, that's Emily! It's Emily!
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Grace, you're gonna have to
I
that.
wanted to save her!
You don't understand. It's
No, I never would have escaped without her. This is all my fault. Again.
Look, I get it. Trust me, I get it. But we're still alive. We have to keep going.
Yeah, we have to.
No.
Grace, come on. Are you... She's dead. Come on. Look, I played enough Cyano Utah. You gotta let this one go. Oh. Leon. Leroy, no. Bro, what am I fucking supposed to do there? What, not shoot and die? Come on, like, what are we doing? Literally, I had to kill the little girl. What did you want me to do? She had to die. Literally mutated into a fucking monster. It's either we die, Grace, or she dies. I'm sorry. Victor?
Elpis is within reach, Grace.
Fucking hell. And I don't even have a gun anymore.
Come with me.
Come with you.
Well, you feel lost, but you're not. You're exactly where you need to be.
Who's that? Who's this?
I've been waiting for you, Grace.
Who's that?
Who are you?
Raccoon City. You're the reason for its destruction, but you're also the key to building a brave new world.
Huh?
You're the final piece. Let us show you your true purpose.
Huh? Is the game over? Get. I would like escape the care center. Yeah, what the fuck was I supposed to do there? We're acting as if there was something I could have done. Like, what am I supposed to do there? All right. No. So the Sherry person, okay. Or am I meant to care? Oh, well, yeah, that's bad.
Hey, checking in.
Good timing.
Did you find anything on Elpis?
Not yet. Nothing on the servers at the CIA or the Pentagon.
Maybe we need a higher clearance.
I requested one.
And I was told to shut down the investigation.
What? Why?
They didn't say.
Orders from on high.
Look, we don't need you taking a hit for this. I'll just go it alone.
We're in this together.
Till the end.
I mean,
I've always been good at working in the shadows.
I mean,
Just don't do anything too risky, yeah?
Me? Never.
oh my god, do I get the drive Leon's Porsche? Motherfucker just went 106.
I'm gonna find Grace. She definitely has something to do with Elpis.
Oh my god. Why does it feel like the game, like I'm playing like, holy shit. Leon, Raccoon City. So if I remember correctly, this is what like takes place in the second game, right? Like Raccoon City. Well, I did have the original Resident Evil. I played like the first 5 minutes of it and I said, what the fuck is this? And then I just never touched it again. Evacuate immediately. September 30th, 1999. Is that what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? Boy, okay. Alright, let's see.
Well, the road's gone. have to find another way around.
Alright. I'll leave that to you. I think I found a clue as to where they might be.
Home sweet.
Some coordinates on Victor's computer.
Home sweet home.
Got it, thanks.
Right in the center of Raccoon City.
Oh man. What the fuck? I have to go where? If you're in Raccoon City, I urge you to leave. Evacuate now. If you cannot evacuate, go to the police station, the nearest facility. Take any weapon you have, and this will probably be the last video we will publish. And I am the last Raccoon Times reporter. Thank you, Givers, for all supporters. Run and survive. Wow. This is a game, alright. This is truly. So you're telling me I gotta just. Well, they blew it all up. Like, there's not gonna be any zombies here. If there's, I swear to God, if there are zombies left over.
It's like time stopped here.
If not for Umbrella, it could have just been a normal city.
Yeah. Now it's nothing but ash and memories.
It's so cold, Leon. Jesus. Mommy, good morning, sleepyhead. Don't get mad, but I decided I'll go get Daddy myself. I'm bored of staying inside. But it's okay. I can smell. I'm smelling. I'll go look at the. Merrily? Oh, poor baby. And she fucking died. I know you guys are saying, that's so harsh. How could you say that? I mean, what do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? The girl's dead. Good Lord. Chat, this game has spiders? Chat, this game has spiders? Oh no. Oh, you've got to be kidding me. Oh no. Oh my god. Oh. 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 Oh my god, you're kidding me. I have arachnophobia. You gotta be kidding me. Oh my god, how the fuck am I supposed to do this? Oh, sweet god. Oh, fuck. Oh my god. Oh my god. How am I supposed to... Oh my god. Oh, shit. I can't. I think we might have to just... Oh, don't have to fight it. Do have to fight it. Do have to fight it. Sweet fuck. Why do you guys always do this? Capcom, you and your goddamn spiders, you pricks. Oh, it looks so ugly. Oh, I can't do it. Kill 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 it. It's over. It's over. Do I have to go on? Oh, fuck. Oh, I don't want to play anymore. I'm good. Fuck me, Resident Evil. Never mind. I'm good. I need some Maximilian. Oh, no, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like this, Bobby. I'm scared. Oh, I forgot I don't have a mom. Oh my god, I'm scared. Oh, I don't like this. Oh, please. Oh! The fuck am I supposed to go? I don't want to look behind me, please. Someone please kill it. Please, for the love of fuck, I don't want to do this anymore. Oh my god. It's growing up. Oh my god. Oh my god! Fucking frick.
Alright. Now what?
The fuck am I supposed to do here? Oh, I don't feel so good. Mr. Stark. Oh, I don't feel so good. Oh, I don't like spiders. Oh, I throw up on shrimp. I don't want to. I thought it was just adorable, but they just had these little spider webs here, but then I left it fucking alone. I'm not doing this shit, man. Capcom, oh, yep. How do I save? How do I say goodbye? Oh. Who the fuck like spiders at Capcom? I'm not playing this game anymore. Who the fuck likes spiders at Capcom? Can I turn this off? Can I please turn this off? Who the fuck asked for this? Oh my god, I've never felt so sick playing a video game in my life. Oh my god. Capcom, you and me are gonna have a talk. You guys are gonna stop adding fucking spiders to your game. Oh my god. Oh my god. It's like every game. Monster Hunter. Fucking Monster Hunter. Goddamn Resident Evil. Fucking, is only Mitsu gonna have this too? Dude, let it go. Oh, I don't even want to click continue. Oh, I feel so nauseous. Oh, I've never felt so nauseous in my life. Who the fuck asked for this? Capcom said, guys, how do we get our player base happy? Yes. The way that we are going to do is that we're going to add spiders. We're gonna add fucking spiders. Oh, I feel itchy all over. I feel sick. Oh. I fucking hate you, Capcom. Please, I don't want to get. Ah, it's right there. Oh. Okay, I don't think I can do this. Who the fuck? Oh. It's their fucking eyes. It's the legs. It's the entire goddamn thing. Oh my god. Who asked for this? Oh. It's like 1,000 fucking degrees. It's hot. I'm sweating. Oh. Who asked for this? Oh my god. I hate you, Capcom. Please. Why would you add this? Why? Do you fucking hate me or something? Oh. I can't do this. I can't. Can we turn this off? Can we turn this off? Can we turn this off? I had to turn off the volume. I can't do this. I can't do this. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh, I feel nauseous. I might stop playing actually.
You're a real pest, you know that?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you said you wanted to defeat it. Yeah. Yep. We're done. I'm never playing this game again. Yep, that's it. All right, chat. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's stream because I'm not fucking ever playing this shit ever again. Capcom, we need to add an arachnophobia mod because I can't do this shit. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna throw up. Anyways, hopefully you all enjoyed today's stream because I'm never playing Requiem ever again. They can go eat my balls. I enjoyed today's stream, guys. Requiem was a lot of fun up until then, and I'm not playing again. I'm good. I'm great. I feel amazing. I feel ecstatic. I've never felt better. You guys have a great night.